All right, let's start with this one. Oh, wait. Oh my God. I think I have to write it down, or else I honestly don't know what to say.
There's our clip.
There's our clip for this one.
Riley comes in. Angel City on the board.
Corner kick presented by Cedar Sinai.
Shifty work into the box. And across, it's in! Oh, it's Loho! It's a dream return!
Welcome back to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm Mario Salazar, along with the best partner, both World Cup, regular season, talking about random stuff, talking about musicals, talking about music, anything, partner in the world, Angela Morales.
Wow, I'm so honored. That was so nice.
Yeah, it's been a while since, it feels like it's been a while since we got back to these these regular season matchups, because we've been on a crazy World Cup break, but we've also been on a crazy World Cup pod.
Challenge Cup run. Yeah, like World
And
Cup
Challenge Cup run.
Challenge Cup. There's just been so many things, but not the things that are regular season Angel City.
Yes. So if you've been listening to any of the other pods that we've been doing for both Challenge Cup and all the ones that we've been doing for the World Cup, thank you for listening. If you haven't, the World Cup's almost over, but you know what? We have some really great information in those episodes, so go back and listen. Maybe you want to hear about some of the groups. I don't know. We've got some good info in all of this. We did some research. A little. A good enough amount. So with that, it, like we said, been a hot minute since we've been at a regular season matchup. The way we like doing these things is we always talk about our last matchup in whatever context we're talking about, right? Whenever we do the Challenge Cup ones, we talk about the last Challenge Cup matchup. This one, we're going to go all the way back to our last Angel City regular season matchup, which was against the North Carolina Courage at home at BMO Stadium with an amazing 2-1 win at home, taking us into the break. It was the best way to do it. Crazy enough that like Endo was still at that match before she was leaving to the World Cup.
That match was insane. Like
that was
it just wow. Honestly, like it was so good.
It was so good. Okay, and then so from that match we've got, like I said, 2-1. We had a 15-minute goal by Brianna Pinto from the North Carolina Courage. Then right after that, we had an 18-minute goal from Sav McCaskill, and I think everybody just kind of got up on it. Go into the half.
Entire stadium exploded. Like you felt the energy kind of go, oh, like you got hit, like the wind knocked out of you, right? After that Pinto goal. And then once Sav scored, it was like, we're back in this real quick. We're not used to this. Let's go. And just then, everybody lost.
Yeah, everyone loses it. And then we go into the half tied. Everybody's feeling good. Team looks like they're gelling. And then we come back into the second half. We're playing some amazing football and soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. And then we had this run up with Elizabeth Eddy that turns out to be a North Carolina own goal. Mm-hmm. The play started and pretty much ran with Eddy as an ACFC, a player running up the pitch and everything. But as it went towards goal, I don't know if it was a pass or a shot, whatever it was, Kaylee Kurtz from the North Carolina Courage bounced off of her, went in, counted as an old goal. Crowd went nuts.
And then it was the hold on to your pants for 13 more minutes.
Exactly. And then whatever
stoppage.
Exactly, whatever stoppage time got added, which at that point was way too much stoppage time.
Yeah, any stoppage at that point was too much. I think it was only a couple minutes that day too, so. thankfully we pulled out that win, and it was a great way to send off Junendo, send off Cap, like, just as one final, like, we got this, go have fun, like, go play hard, go rep your countries. And I'm just, I'm so glad it's regular season again.
I know
I
it
missed
feels like
it.
it's been so long, and we need it.
Definitely. So kind of as a quick recap, like a recap of the recap, what happened with the Challenge Cup?
Okay, so
At
with
least
the
for
challenge,
us.
so with the Challenge Cup, we weren't going to win our group outright, especially with the way the beginning of the season went. But the last couple matches that we had brought us up, gave us that slimmer of hope that we could win that wild card spot where we're going to be like the best second place team within the 3 groups. And we didn't quite make it. I mean, there was we needed to win by like 8 goals to make up for the goal differential to even have a chance. That wasn't going to happen. But, we hoped it would have been like a 9-0 blowout in San Diego. But either way, I think we ended the Challenge Cup in a really great place. We ended up in second place in our group, and most importantly, we ended up with a really great momentum and a really great just backing behind Becky Tweed. So
The team, like, the way the Challenge Cup ended, we ended the Challenge Cup on a win, even though we didn't like make it to the semis. Like, it was one of those things where, like you said, the team has momentum. There is cohesion on the pitch that we haven't seen in a long time, if ever. One of the best games was the last home game, like the game against Portland at home for the last Challenge Cup game. My family was there, and they're like, "This is what you've been so excited about? This is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, this is a big deal." So, like, yes, we're out of the Challenge Cup. It's, those games are still being played for the teams that moved on, but we gained so much as a team, and it's dope.
yeah, no, it's been an
It's
amazing
really
run.
cool.
I'm still gonna go back to, I have my theory that Becky's been low key listening to our pod, and when we said, "Hey Becky, just have fun with this. There's no way we're winning first place, so there's nothing you can lose. There's nothing to lose, so
Right.
have fun with it. Play with the lineups, make them scrimmages, try new things, see what works." And they did, and they had fun. You can tell they had fun. You can tell they gelled. They just did an amazing job. So I'm not gonna say we did it, but
We did
Becky,
it.
if you listen to us, thank you.
Thanks.
And we've got more tips for you coming up.
Honestly, if anybody in the front office or the coaching staff is listening to this podcast, I'm so sorry for the dumb stuff I say. And like, yes, there is some intelligent, fun, and like good soccer knowledge. Sometimes I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, to be honest. But whoever's listening, thanks.
All right, so let's go back and talk about regular season and where we are. We finished just before the international break in 10th place with 17 points. I know every now and then when we're doing this like tie thing, if we're on the lower end of the tie, I'm like, okay, we're losing, we're on the bottom end. We are safely by ourselves at 17 points. I mean, NWSL being what it is and parity being what it is, it's tight all around.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in 10th place. The difference between San Diego being in 6th place with 21 points and us being in 10th place with 17 is 4 points. I mean, that's insane. And then the difference between San Diego and first place North Carolina is only 5 points from there. So
that's wild.
The gap between the teams is crazy, which is one of the reasons I've literally been tagging all our pods, all our posts about the regular season, hashtag race to the playoff chaos, because that's exactly what it is.
Exactly. We've talked about the NWSL chaos. Get ready for it. Like, we're, like you said, we're in 10th place with 17 points. The team we're going to be playing, Racing Louisville, is in 7th place with a 19 point. So between 7th place and 10th place, there's 2 points separating them.
I mean, we can very easily jump them
What?
at this point and
Yeah.
get nuzzled up right there, right next to that playoff line with a good little runway to go. So I'm all for it. And the great thing is having this amazing win against North Carolina before this break means that they didn't get any good point. They didn't get any points whatsoever.
Right.
Which now means they're still in first place, but Portland Thorns is in second place, and Gotham FC are in third place, tied with 25 points, only 1 point behind North Carolina. So, we made that happen. We made it a little bit crazier for them. You're welcome.
So what if we're on the Tweed train? How are we doing so far with Becky?
The tremendous Becky Tweed. It's been insane, and if at this point this woman has not at least earned like a 1-year contract, I don't know what's going on. Like I know
Honestly.
there's this due diligence probably that's happening, that they're out there searching for a new head coach or whatever. I think the momentum that the team has had so far, she is undefeated in the last 7 matches. And not only to say the last 7 matches, it's her first 7 matches.
Yeah, the only 7 matches.
The only 7 matches from when she took over. She's undefeated. She has 4 wins. She has 3 draws, no losses. And we're definitely not at the point where we're saying season's lost, let's think about next year. No, we are definitely in that running at the moment, right? And if we keep this momentum of more wins than losses, which we have at the moment, we definitely have a shot into making it to these playoffs. So
Absolutely.
If this woman has not earned her contract extension, or at least like at this point, like we've said this before, if she's keeping us hovering around the same place we ended last year, given the
start
sandwich,
of
the start of the season sandwich that she had was given, she just automatically deserves at least a year contract extension to say, what can you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if she gets
agree.
us, and if she gets us into the playoffs, dude, automatic. Just give her a couple years.
Just go. Exactly. Yeah. I think there's such a different vibe within this team. And granted, that unbeaten in 7 record is both regular season and Challenge Cup, but it's the momentum behind that that's the important part. With that said, too, San Diego is on a huge 8 or 9 game skid, and we have been such a big part of that in both the draws and winning, and it makes me really happy. And I know the team is really excited. Everything they're posting, everything they're showing in training, you can tell it's different. And with the addition of Amandine Henry coming into this game, we have so much happening, and it's so good. It's so good.
And their little skid, their little slide that San Diego got all started with our match back in June.
Yep.
Against San Diego. We gave them a nice little loss down in San Diego.
At home. Yeah, I was gonna say at home in San Diego.
And then I'm looking at their fixture list right now, and then it was loss there, loss against the OL, loss against us again for the Challenge Cup.
Loss against the Red Stars. Many times they tied in that little stretch.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, it's just been an annoying little stretch where we have to face them. Then they lost to the Thorns, and then they lost to OL again. And then we ended up tying them for that last Challenge Cup match, which honestly to us, like I said, was very, very, we had to win 9-0, 8-0, 10-0, whatever it was, to make up that goal differential. But, not spending our players in a matchup that essentially didn't mean anything was completely smart. And you know what? If they keep sliding, that just opens up another spot for us.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
all right. So you've mentioned it already. Our next matchup is Louisville. Take us
Yes.
through it.
So, Racing Louisville versus Angel City at Lynn Family Stadium. So, we'll be playing in Kentucky, in Louisville. And there's a lot that's a mystery about this game because Louisville has, I think, 6 or 7, I don't remember if it's 6 or 7 players who have been in the World Cup. They have Savannah DeMello, who is on the US team, Kanu, who was on Nigeria, Katlana, that was on South Africa.
Ooh, is this where she's playing that you didn't want
Yes,
to give
that's what I
away in
alluded
our World Cup
to.
episode?
Yes, I like they have one player from China and then another player I don't remember, but like a multitude of teams that and all of those players are huge for this Louisville team. So I don't really know what is going to occur and what's going to happen between both of these teams. Like we're going to highlight some great players, but this is unpredictable because we don't know who has come back to the States yet. We don't know who's still resting, who's still like adjusting to the time change. Like there's so much just kind of in the air, and we'll find out when the lineups are announced. So,
Which
yeah,
will be like 2 minutes before the actual game time. But
exactly.
yes.
Exactly. I doubt players like Katlana or Kanu will be at least on the starting lineup because they went a little deeper than other teams that they had players for, but you never know,
Yeah,
honestly.
and another thing too is that like all these teams most likely have signed these national team replacement players
Right.
to their squads, and those players, if teams were the way they were supposed to be and calling in their players, early to get some like pre World Cup matches going, things like that, those replacement players would have gotten some burn, right? Some play time with their respective teams.
Right.
Unlike some federations like, Japan and Endo not being called up to like the very last game. Where she stopped playing at halftime, was like, all right, now it's time for me to go.
Bye. Yeah.
So each one of these teams has national team replacement players that have probably been playing with the team, at least practicing with the team, because, all of these players went to the World Cup. And I don't know how their players have been doing, but our two players have been doing really well. They've been gelling with our team really well. So you don't really want to disrupt that right away, especially if you still have essentially some free time with them. Like they don't, like yes, you're paying these players, but they're not affecting your salary caps or anything like that up until
Right.
the end of this month. So you got some burn to keep them on and keep them gelling with your team. And then the other part of this is you don't know what not only physical state these players are in, right? Like you said, some of these players went in deeper into the competition than others, but also just mental state, right? Like you got to give players time to decompress, time to process, time to understand what they just went through. They went through a crazy ass tournament in a really, really short amount of time on a giant stage. So
that it's very emotionally and mentally taxing in ways that I don't think the common person quite understands. You're already in a pressure cooker and then you get put into another one, basically.
And then some of these players are also dealing with not only with the pressure cooker of the World Cup, but the pressure cooker of their own federations and the BS that's stemming from all of that. So,
absolutely.
Not calling anyone fragile on this or anything, because these are all legit things to think about. And we even saw, like, I think you sent me a quote from Becky when Ali Riley was due back, or when she got back to training or whatever. And Becky basically was just saying, like, paraphrasing here, but she was basically saying she's back, but we're just assessing it day by day, and we're letting her process what she just gone through. And, when we all feel that she's ready, and we'll think about putting her into the match. I think it was because it was leading up to that Challenge Cup match, but
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's really the way these coaches should be approaching this thing is like, okay, I need you at 100% on that field, but I also want you to get there, not on your terms, not
Yeah.
on my terms, right? Like
There's a
I
big
need you
push.
100% there.
Yeah, there's a big push towards player humanity this season, and I love it. Becky Tweed has talked about it in Cap and JJ and Alyssa Thompson, like in them returning and June returning. There's been a lot of talk out of Casey Stoney talking about the players that she has coming back to San Diego. A lot of these head coaches are like, no, this is a big deal. And a lot of the coaches now have been in that position, either as players or coaching staff members, and they understand what happens when you go to the World Cup or you go to the Olympics and you put your body through that. You have to come back and you have to recover in multiple ways before you can compete again. Otherwise, you're just running yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
And thankfully,
yeah.
we have the CBA that protects the players from doing that quite as much.
Yeah. And then, you know what? We need these players because we're definitely making it into, I feel it in my nuggets. We're definitely making it into the playoffs. We need a deep run. We need these players.
Yeah.
In the right space. And I'm here for it. Give them the space they need. They will come back 100 times better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, speaking of players, the players to watch. Like I said, Louisville has a bunch of players that have been in the World Cup. I don't know who's coming back or who will be available. I should say they're all coming back, but who will be available for this game. If any of them are, it takes what's already going to be a very well-matched game and like hits it up a couple notches. But I've got 3 players on Louisville that I want to talk about that weren't national team players for this World Cup, but have been there before in some capacity. Mostly defenders and midfielders, because we talked a lot about their forwards and their strikers for the World Cup. Whether we alluded to that or not, a lot of the players that are gone from Louisville for the tournament are strikers, are forwards, are attacking midfielders. They're very much the heavy hitters for their countries. So, Carson Pickett, first defender I want to talk about. She is so cool, first of all, just in general. She is a big member of the community for teams she's played with. She got traded to Louisville last season or just before the trade deadline. That's what it was, because there was scandal. She had been playing with the Courage, and she is actually the first player with a limb differential in the NWSL and to play on the U.S. national team.
Okay.
Do I need to explain?
Explain the limb differential.
So she was born without her left hand and forearm. So she has, her arm extends just a little bit past her elbow. Yeah, so she's the very first player in the league on the national team to have any kind of like limb differential, or, you know, I don't like the term deformity because it's not, it's just developmental things. But it's super cool because she has become a fantastic person for kids with the same or even different limb differentials and limb issues to look up to. There's a clip of her meeting a little girl that has like almost the exact same development of her arm that Carson does. And the little girl is just like, look, we're the same. And like, I want to play soccer too. And she's really allowed conversation around folks with limb differentials and how it doesn't impact your ability to play sport. And that alone is super great. She's so much fun to watch. She's a great defender. I have a feeling she'll probably be starting. She usually does. And she's super fun to watch play. But she'll be over there towards the goalie since she's on defense. The funny story I have with Carson is a few seasons ago, she got called for a handball, but it was a handball on her left arm where she doesn't have a forearm and a hand. And there's a clip, I need to find it. I'll see if Eva has it saved or can find it quickly. But there's like a video of her turning to the referee and you see her very clearly saying, I don't have a hand. Or, you know, like, what is wrong? Like, hello? And it is hysterical because she's just like bewildered. Like, how could I have touched the ball when I don't have what?
I saw
But
the
yeah, it's
note as you were talking, and I just started like I was trying not to laugh ahead of this because I needed to hear the story. Like I can
yeah,
just the one liner is funny, and then hearing what you've been talking about is like, okay, I understand now, but then I need more context about this, and it's just
yeah, like
good.
mid game, the whistle blows. She gets called for a handball, and she just looks like she looks at teammates, looks at the other team, and everybody's just like, "What?" Mass confusion. Like, I'm sorry, excuse me. And the referee, like, I don't remember what happened with the call, but everybody was just like, "What just happened? How?"
Okay, we're gonna have to look for this.
Yeah, definitely. And then Abby Ursig, she is also newer to Louisville. She was on the Courage with Carson and was part of a trade that happened right at the trade deadline because someone whose name rhymes with Schmabby Schmersig tweeted something not very nice about how their certain team deals with trades and like, oh, like, oh, we always screw over the team. Like, like we're not great at trades in the trade deadline. And next thing you know, she is traded to Louisville. So it was very like, oh crap, what just happened to the Courage? Louisville, like Carson Pickett is now moving from North Carolina to Kentucky. So is Abby Ursig. Wild times. But she is a fantastic player. She's from New Zealand. She played for the Ferns for many years. She retired, I believe, in 2017 from international play due to issues with their federation, and then came out of retirement for the 2019 Olympics, 2019 World Cup and the Olympics following, and then retired before this World Cup again officially. But she is a mainstay in women's soccer in New Zealand and also actually in the NWSL. She's played for different teams, kind of bounced around a little bit before settling into life at the Courage and then now in Louisville. So I'm curious to see how she plays. She is always like one of the players to call out regardless because she's that good. So I'm excited to see how our forwards play against this defense because it is full of big name contenders, like household names kind of thing. My last person is Jalen Howell. She is a midfielder / defender. So she kind of goes back and forth. And she's also been called up for the women's national team here in the US. She was the second overall draft pick in 2022. And she won 2 national championships at the soccer level. She's gotten all kinds of awards. She's just great. And she's been part of winning teams basically at any level. She's been part of USA Soccer since the U17. So since she was like teenager, she's been within the USA Soccer world. Everybody kind of knows who she is. They've played with her, all that good stuff. But yeah, Louisville has a fantastic defense. I'm curious to see who they pull out of the hat for the remainder of their roster, but that's what I got.
All right. Well, so okay, we've got you went in good old Angela fashion. We went with defenders, which I love.
But see, in our quest to attack more, in our quest to score more, we have to know who our enemies are, and that is the defense. So there.
That okay? Yes, 100%. Yes. Okay, so in the back line, we're going to be looking for Carson Pickett, which will be number 16. We've got Abby Ursig, which is a number 20, and then Jalen Howell, which will be number 6, who might be floating between the mid and the defense, for Louisville. Now, I know we've talked about this before, where we get to talk about new players or a new crop of players because of the opposing team that we're playing. And we've been doing highlights about our own players, but now we're also running out of highlighting our own players.
Exactly.
So who do you got for me this time?
So I actually wanted to talk about our national team replacement players since we have them till the end of the month. We have them till the end of August. Whether or not we waive them before is up to the team's discretion. But I think they are, what's the right word? I think they are the ones to talk about right now because let's see what happens. You know, like Elizabeth Eddy helped us get that own goal and score. She's been
She's
very
helped us.
loud.
She's helped us a lot
Yeah,
since she got signed as the replacement player. She's helped us a lot. Her name has
absolutely.
been coming up a lot. So
hmm she's an experienced player. She's a hometown girl. She's from Costa Mesa. She played at USC. Like she's a surfer. She's just a Southern California girl in like the best way. She played in both the Japanese and Australian women's leagues before coming to the NWSL. And like she got drafted but wanted to get her master's. So went and got her master's, went and played overseas, came back. She had been playing for the Dash in 2022, but she was waived before the start of this season and wasn't picked up by anybody. So having her come in and be a very big game changer has been really interesting. And I'm really curious to see what happens with this as like replacement player at the end of the season and like beginning of next season, where like does she stay in the ACFC like orbit? But with that said, I think Elizabeth Eddy is someone ACFC fans should be paying attention to. She's a fantastic player. Like I've said, she's come into any game she's played in, she's come in and immediately been a game changer. And Kristen, Press, Tobin Heath, they talk about how on the 2015 and 2019 teams, you weren't called a substitute. You were called a game changer because it was your job and it was your role to come in and change up whatever was going on. So you help mess with the defense. You help get us in better scoring position, whatever that is. And I really think that Angel City is taking that same idea with our substitute. Elizabeth, she started one of the Challenge Cup games, immediately had impact. Like I think that was the game where Sav scored twice and it was wild, but it was one of those where her skill level and her maturity as a veteran of the league and of the game shows the second she's on the pitch. So I'm really hoping that she kind of shows herself again in the NWSL, specifically with ACFC. And then Kelsey Hill, she's much younger. She played at Pepperdine last season. So she is new to professional soccer. She has been training with Angel City since the preseason, so she knows the team pretty well. And she hasn't gotten as much playing time because our defense is major. Like our backline, Paige Nielsen on her podcast, they made a song. Like they rewrote the Backstreet Boys' Everybody, Backstreet's Back song to like encapsulate our defense, which is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I put it on our story. I'll probably repost it at least a couple more times. It's my favorite. But she hasn't had the opportunity to play quite as much because of the strength of our defense. But she's fantastic. She too has come in, made a big difference, made a name for herself. So I'm just really curious to see what happens with these two over the next couple weeks to see if they're playing, what they're doing with the team, if they're traveling with the team, to kind of give us a heads up of what's going to happen once everybody's back, once Amandine Henry is healthy and her calf injury is all settled. Like there's so much that's exciting on the horizon in the next couple weeks.
yeah, I just went to the team and trying to count the number of players and did a little quick search on how many players are we allowed to have, because technically we don't have to get rid of them by the
Right.
end of the month. We have to get rid of them by the end of the month before they affect our salary cap and player counts. And I know that players like Kristen Press still being on the season-ending injury list and not having come off that since last year means that her salary and her spot are not affecting the cap. Right, she's still getting paid. I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm assuming, yeah, with at least through Angel City. Like
Yeah.
I think our team's built a little different in that sense.
Yeah. But she doesn't affect the number of spots. And I believe I looked it up. Each team can have a total of 26 spots on there. But if you look at like our team roster, we've got Allison Swaby still listed on there. Vanessa Giles is still listed on there. They're both on loan. Do they actually affect our counts to the 26? I don't know. All of those things, when it comes to the amount of money these teams have, it's funny money. It's monopoly money to me.
Truly.
I don't understand the amounts of money that are being thrown around. So it is what it is. Maybe we get to keep them. Maybe we don't. It's one of those things where like you're allowed to keep them, but if you're at your max in your roster, you're also going to have to make room for them, right? So we'll see. But like you said, they've been contributing. Eddie's been contributing. Kelsey has, I think she played a little bit, but like you said, we're pretty good in the defense. So it's really just having that other player there. So yeah, let's see what happens. So at the moment, we have Elizabeth Eddy playing as number 44 in the midfield, and then Kelsey Hill is playing as number 36 as a defender / midfielder. So yeah, let's see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah, so the history between these two teams, last season, we split the difference. We beat them 3-2, and then we lost 3-1. So now we're looking at this season, and we tied 2-2. So this is very much anything goes. These teams are more evenly matched over the course of 2 seasons. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. And, like we've been saying, hopefully we're carrying this tremendous Tweed energy and momentum from before the World Cup break, the ending of the Challenge Cup, carrying that into the beginning, the restart of the season, and hopefully on up through the playoffs.
Definitely.
All right, so that's what we've got for you today. Our matchup again is against Racing Louisville at the Lynn Family Stadium in Kentucky. 4:30 p.m. Pacific kickoff time. So that's for us here in LA. 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, August 19th. It's going to be broadcast on Bally SoCal, which, if you don't know, is our local broadcaster. So when you watch it on Bally SoCal, you're going to be getting the Angel City loving broadcast announcers. They're going to be the ones that are going to be a little bit more friendly and not doing the whole like, ooh, we're broadcasters, we got to stay neutral, it's a national broadcast. Nope. These are
Not today.
These are us, local. Here it is. All the Angel City bias we can get. And
Exactly.
So yeah, so check your local listing, see if you got Bally. I know it's a cable channel that you might have to get a subscription for. I never had one, so we'll see. But if you don't have access to Bally, you can also still watch this match on Paramount Plus in the US. So as long as you have a subscription to that, you'll be able to watch it. If you're international, thank you for listening. And it'll be on nwslsoccer.com. And as always, if you're on the go, can't really stop to watch it, which I've done plenty of times, check it out on the iHeartRadio app. It's the English language radio broadcaster. It'll be just like Bally SoCal. It'll be some Angel City centric and loving broadcasters that are totally going to have an Angel City bias, and is fine by me. So just open up that iHeartRadio app. It's an actual channel all by itself. So it's exclusively
It's really
an Angel
easy to
City
find.
radio. Yep. It's super easy to find. And with that, we'll see you as the season restarts.
Yeah. Don't forget to find us on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Pod, wherever you feel like clicking, it's there. Casualsc.com has all those links If you want to follow us on social media, if you aren't already, you can find us at Casual FC Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, anything else we can think of. We've got the audio version of this wild and crazy podcast up on YouTube. Mario is our producer extraordinaire. I'm just here for a good time. So we
and the
we
knowledge
do our
and the
best.
knowledge.
We're the brain. We're both the brains behind the operation in different ways. He is, like I've said before, the graphics man, the video producing guy. He has all of the technical skills. I do not, but keep an eye on our feed. We'll be posting updates from the game. If I have the energy and the ability to live tweet it, I will try. It's a lot of fun. It's just really stressful, but keep an eye
I mean,
on the socials.
granted,
for all the good stuff.
This will be
Oh.
after some late night
Yeah.
semifinal matchups of midweek of even though they're midweek, they're still going to be a little draining till we get to the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be gearing up for the final, most likely, of the World Cup.
Yeah, because
after this
the
game.
final of the World Cup will be right after this game on Sunday. So, or later
Maybe
that
Monday.
night.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the time.
No. It'll be, so this game's at 4:30, and then you got to stay up through that for the 1 a.m. matchup or 3 a.m. matchup for that. Follow our socials. We'll get the right
Who
times on
knows?
there.
Definitely. There's a lot of soccer coming up this week, and I hope you enjoy it. But with all that said, we will talk to you next time. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.